everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. Hope that you all are doing well. In today's video, I am going to be giving you guys a book review. So I have this plan to read at least one book per month, which in January I achieved that, and now in February I'm struggling to get through the second one. But yeah, we're gonna get into it. If you've never seen my face before, hi, my name is Mangy. Please make sure to hit the subscribe button to join the family and hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload. And without any further ado, we're going to hop right into it. Alright, y'all. So last month I started the year with this book. It's Special Delivery by Danielle Steel. I did not end up reading this copy. I ended up reading a copy from the library, but I already returned it weeks ago. So now I'm still sitting here with my own copy. The only reason I took a copy from the library was because it was bigger print, and also I thought I'd get through it faster since it is a library book. So I could finish it, you know. But it turns out I'm really truly in a reading slump that I'm struggling to get out of. However, I finished this book and I'm going to talk about this book. So this book is first of all, it was published in 1997. The original was published in 1997, and then this publishing house, is it Corgi? Can you see it? I don't think you can see it. But they published theirs in 1998. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you're the same age as me. Because I was born December 97 on the 31st of December. The last day of the year. So whenever people ask my age, I just tell them I'm 27. I don't even tell them, oh, I'm turning 28 at the end of the year, because get fun. Unless they really want to know my birthday, or I want to share with them my birthday. But anyway, that's not the point. So I read this book. This book it was okay. Probably not the best book to start the year with. Probably not. It was a little bit of it was not a drag per se, but I've also had more fast-paced books before. And I felt like getting the year started, I needed a fast-paced book where you get to the point quickly, and I needed that. But anyway, this was not the case with it, and it was okay. I think I gave it 3.5 or 4 stars. I think that it went for 3 stars on my Goodreads. This book is about a man named Jack Watson. I had forgotten his surname. It's about a man named Jack Watson who is an absolute playboy, going out with every girl that he sees. In Sesotho we say basically. These are words that my grandma used to say, that my mom does say now from time to time. But yeah, he was that type of person. And he had 2 children. He had a son and a daughter. And now, the woman that he ends up with is Amanda. Hold on, let's check. Amanda Robbins. And little scandalous. Let me tell you, it's a little scandalous, because his son is married to her daughter. It's a wild ride. I don't want to spoil it for you guys any further than that, but yeah, it was a little scandalous. I was like, oh my goodness, these are the type of things that I only ever see in movies, and of course now reading books. If I ever had anyone in real life come tell me, my dad, I think Sieven Delon had this, where Charmaine was Vanessa's mom, and Neville was Xander's dad, and Vanessa and Xander were married, and then later on Neville and Charmaine got together, got married. It was a wild thing, okay? It was wild. And if anyone came to me in person and was like, yo, you'll never believe what happened, my mom's mom and my dad's dad, or they say, we're at an age now where we could get married. If any of my friends come to me and says my mother and my father-in-law are together, I'm going to be shook to my core. I'm going to be shook to my core, honestly, because I can't imagine that. I can't even fathom that. My goodness gracious, what do you do? How do you come to talk? What do? You do nothing, obviously, but how do you come to terms with that? Somebody who was your, say for argument's sake, father-in-law, and all of a sudden is your stepdad too? Jean. And how do you explain it to the children? Oh my goodness, how do you explain it to the children? Mommy's mommy and daddy's dad are together. Their grandma and grandpa with the other set. Where's the other set of grandparents? There are none. You just have those. It's so confusing. It's so confusing. It's so confusing. Can you imagine somebody who is not wanting to get into it, or maybe is too embarrassed to ask questions, and they find out that, oh, the mom and the dad are married, and then the mom is walking around with the daughter like, oh yeah, this is my daughter. The dad's walking around with this and like, this is my son. They're immediately going to think incest. They're having an incestuous relationship. These two children should not have gotten married, because why? It is wild to me. It is really wild to me. I'm sorry. The beginning of the book, before they got together, for me, I was kind of like, this sounds like a typical book that was written in the 90s and some 80s books, typical of Danielle Steel. I've read a bunch of Danielle Steel books, and I was like, yeah, it's typical of Danielle Steel. It's readable, it's good, it's not jarring or anything. And then that happened, and I was like, what? Excuse me? What the hell is this? Yeah, no, I was shocked when it happened. I was really shocked when it happened, especially closer to the end when other things were happening. As I was like, yo. I was never ready. I was never ready for this book. Okay? I was never ready for the plot twist. Even when they got together, I was kind of like, wow, that's so scandalous. But then in the end, I was like, that's even more scandalous. It was wild. I recommend that you guys read it. It was really fun. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, that is the book that I read in January. And I was hoping that I would read 2 books at least in January, but I only finished 1, which is this one. So that's kind of disappointing. But I have been in a reading slump recently, so I don't know if there are books that I'm supposed to read maybe that will help me get out of the slump. Because I just don't get it. I've been in a reading slump for months at this point, and it's really, everything is really slow. I don't like it. Now I'm reading a book that I got from the library. It's got the little barcode that the library puts on, and it's got all of these. My book is actually late by a lot, actually. I'm gonna pay a fine. Anyway, don't be like me. Take back your book sometime. But anyway, this is the book that I'm reading currently. It's called Sing You Home by Jodi Picoult. And I wish with everything within me that I had this copy on my shelf. A copy of this book on my shelf, because if I did, then I'd just take this back and just read my own copy. And I do think that I am going to stop going to the library for a while. I think I'm just going to put this book back. I kind of want to finish it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it. But you know what, though? I want to finish it because it's a good story. And it's kind of picking up. I've gotten over the very slow, almost mundane part. I say this as someone who's not even on page 100 of a 466 page book. I don't know I'm going to finish it, but I'm determined to finish it. I will go to the library, pay the fine, and take it again. So start again, take a new term, which is going to be 2 weeks. And I didn't want this to bleed too far into the month of March, but I think we might just have to let it bleed into March, which is something that I did not want. But anyway, this is the book for February. It's called Sing You Home by Jodi Picoult. So far, I'm enjoying it. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I don't actually know much. However, so far, the 2 main characters are getting a divorce because they are not in agreement with regards to something that is life-changing. But yeah. Oh, the girl's name is Zoe. I remember that. And I think the guy's name is Maxwell. Let's check. Definitely, yes, Max. His name is Max. Her name is Zoe. And they're getting a divorce now. I'm kind of sad for them, for the thing that is causing them not to stay together. But I'm also sad that the marriage is ending. And it's insane to me because I feel like these people they have so much to live for. They've got so much going for them both, as individuals. And there's just this one thing that is just pushing them into this weird space, and it drives me insane. And I worry that that is something that is so real, something that I've seen so much in stories and movies and books, and even in real life I've seen this happening, and it makes me so sad because it's too realistic. I think with special delivery, with this book, it's not very common. It's not very common. I don't hear about it often, where the mom and the dad get together and their children are married. It's yes, it was a little insane, but it was like story kind of insane. This is too real. This is too real. And I personally have not gone through any of the things in this book because obviously I'm not a married woman. But it's too real. The emotions are too, but then again, it's Jodi Picoult. What do you expect? All of Jodi's emotions are very real. Jodi writes a book so well and writes emotions so well that you feel yourself hurting along with the character, and it's wild. Maybe this is why my first the first character I ever fell in love with, the first fictional character I ever fell in love with was Chris. I think his name was Chris. Um, from a Jodi Picoult book called The Pact, which I have a copy of up there, I think. Let's check. Um, okay, so I don't see it and I don't want to undo that. I just worked hard trying to put it back together. But I fell in love with Chris the first time. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm in love with this boy. And I remember feeling so weird about it. And I asked my English teacher, I think I was in grade 11. Grade 11 or maybe matric. But I think grade 11 is the year. I asked my English teacher, Mrs. Lombard, I was like, ma'am, have you ever fallen in love with a book character before? First thing she did was laugh at me. And I immediately thought, oh my goodness, I'm so ridiculous. And then she nods and she's like, yes, it happens. And immediately felt better about it. But he was the first person I fell in love with. I loved, absolutely loved that man. So much so that to this day I still think about him. I still think about how I felt back then, being like, oh my goodness, this man is so wonderful. And back then, of course, I had not actually fallen in love with anyone. I think I was like 18. I'd had crushes before, but never felt like, oh my god, I love this person. I want to be with this person so badly. But yeah, anyway, her emotions are very real. I don't know, man. I always say when I'm feeling stressed out and I'm dealing with a little much in my life, I don't read Jodi Picoult because the emotions are so real that the emotions that I'm reading about start bleeding into my own personal issues, like all the emotions, and it's just a hodgepodge of unpleasantness despite the story being really good. So yeah, maybe that's the problem with this book, because I am struggling through a depressive episode since last year, May, which is the longest depressive episode I've had. I've never had to be this long before. But anyway, I've been struggling with a depressive episode since May. It got worse in December. Life has just not been fun. Okay, life has just not been fun. But maybe this is why this book is taking me so long, because the emotions are too real. I've never gone through any of the things that are in this book. Zoe's significantly older, in a different space altogether in her life, in a different place, in her career, and everything else. And I'm like, my gosh, why am I feeling her emotions? They're very real. If I could write like Jodi Picoult, gosh, I'd write I'd write so much. I'd be making you cry. I'd be making you all cry. But anyway, yeah. Oh. Oh, I know that. I thought this book was turned into a movie. I was like, I'm gonna go watch the movie. No, it's My Sister's Keeper. They're talking about My Sister's Keeper. But anyway, yeah. This is the book that I'm reading. This is the book for February. And I will be back in a couple of weeks to come review this. And I think right now I'm going to go read this while I wait for my mom to get home and see how far I can get. Hopefully I can get far. And hopefully by next week I'll be done with this book, because I can tell that I'm starting to get a little better, and my mood is picking up a little bit. And we actually have our church people coming this weekend. Today is, just want to make sure of the date. Today is the 25th of February, and we have church coming to my house on the 28th of February. And I'm excited for that. As excited as I can be when I'm in this space, in this mental space. I'm very excited, and I think maybe it'll be such a good time for me that it'll kind of help me pull me out of my depressive episode a little bit. And yeah. And I know when I'm happy and my mood rate is high, that things like reading and partaking in my hobbies, they come very easy to me. I don't have to remind myself to read. I don't have to remind myself to play music. I don't have to remind myself to paint or draw or crochet or whatever. But right now everything is such a drag. I have to remind myself, and I even have to have a reward system for myself. When I'm okay, doing my hobbies is a reward. So what I'll do is I'll say, if I can finish this report, then I can give myself 30 minutes of crocheting or 30 minutes of painting or whatever the case is. Or I'll tell myself, oh, you can finish that one painting that you've been wanting to do. Or you can go read 2 chapters of a book, or like 50 pages, whatever the case is. But when I'm in this space like I am right now, I have to create a reward system that is the other way around. So I have to now say, if you can finish up to page 130 by tonight, then tomorrow you can do X, Y, and Z, or you can get X, Y, and Z. I don't know, man. It's such a wild thing. I don't know when this became a mental health talk thing, but yeah. That's it for today's video. I truly recommend Special Delivery if you're into slower reads. If you're into Danielle Steel, you need to read her book. You need to read this book. And yeah, I hope I can read more of her books. I do have a couple over the shelf there. Those books over there that are showing over there, those are all my Danielle Steel books. So kind of excited. And there's one behind these that's sitting diagonally because there's no space. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope that you guys have a lovely, lovely, lovely week, and I will see you on the next one. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to join the family. Hit the notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, on TikTok, and on Twitter at _Swangela_. And the rest of my socials will be in the description box below. I love you all so much, all the way to the moon, around the sun, and back again. Bye.